Hello artistic adventurers and welcome back to Sketch Quest. We here at TYG have teamed up with some incredible artists to bring you this series of tips to help you start your adventure right. But before we can leave Tutorial Island, we need to brush up on a few skills. And don't worry if you're just starting out, because I'll be learning alongside you. And don't forget to use the hashtag SketchQuest so you can share your results with us. Let's see what today's quest is, shall we? Today's quest giver is none other than VTuber, illustrator, artist extraordinaire, J.L.P. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good, thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you for coming back. We're really excited to get into it. What are we questing on today?
Today I'm going to show you how to draw wavy hair and braids.
Oh god. Right, straight hair was difficult, but like curly hair, that's really difficult for me.
Luckily, waves are a little easier. We'll be doing curly and coily hair in the next episode.
No, I know.
Don't worry, I've got some good techniques on how to go about them in an easier way. When we're looking at wavy hair, we're mainly looking at the hair types that are the 2A, 2B, and 2C. You can see this artist has done a great job at drawing the different types. You can see that with wavy hair, it's more of people have described it as like an S-shape wave. Kind of like if you were to draw the ocean, actually, like that. So you'll want to practice doing this shape a lot when drawing wavy hair. So here's a few examples of how I draw wavy hair. And it's kind of similar to what we were doing last time with the straight hair. The only difference is instead of using straight and more curved lines, we're using the S-shaped wavy lines this time. So the first thing we want to do is, again, acknowledge where the part is going to go in the hair, just like last time. And then we can also, similarly to last time, be able to break the hair up. I won't be doing it as much in this episode, but you definitely can break it up like we did last time if that is easier for you. You can see when we break it up that we create more S lines and then lines that are very close together here in the hair. So if that helps you to be able to visualize how the hair should look, then you definitely can focus on one strand and try and dissect like how wavy it is. So the technique I'm going to show you to try and do wavy hair today is something I call the ribbon technique. It's when we start by drawing waves like this, and then we get comfortable doing this S-shaped way of drawing hair. You just want to be able to draw two wavy lines, and you want them to be next to each other and to follow along the same wave like that. Yeah, like that. You've done a great job. So now that we've practiced doing the two wavy lines, we know how the hair should kind of be. So when we're drawing hair, it gets thinner at the end of the hair here. So your next goal is to create two wavy lines and see if you can try and make them thinner at the bottom and connect like that. And if you can't do it first time, it's perfectly okay. It takes some practice. If you're struggling as well, you're also allowed to draw a little line at the bottom. Totally valid. And then I know this part looks really scary, but it is just what we've been doing before. So we're going to draw the wavy line, and if it helps at the top, this should be similar to how we did it first time. And the aim is also to connect them at the bottom like we just did. So when drawing hair, when I do this, I find that it's easier to start with one, like that, and then we can connect another one about here, about midway, and then we can see that it's coming through behind. Try and connect it like that. I'll try and do that again. So like, do one like that. About midway, let it attach onto the next one, and then we can see from behind that it'll go down. And this will just take some practice, but you want to be looking at the hair as one big strand as well. Like you want to try and see it in a 3D space. So you want to acknowledge the back of the hair where it crosses. And where we have this cross right here, that's where our shading will go. So if you've ever seen artists do all those like really beautiful hair pieces and you don't know how they've been able to work out the shading, because the shading will usually be where the ribbon crosses over here, because the light won't really reach there in most situations. So you'll want to just practice doing this for a little while. You can make them more wavy as well if you feel really ambitious.
Mine will keep winding up more. More like,
yeah, you can. Can make them bigger as well. And we just want to be able to follow the lines and the curves in the hair. That's really good. You got it.
That's that curly one, like, that was just like magic, was that? How did you do that?
So I start with like a curly hair like this. And then we want to do it next to it and really think about how the shape's going to be. So we can fill in the front-facing hair, so we'll know it look like this. And then we can then see that it comes around like so.
Right, that's just, yeah, that's magic as well.
Yeah, it kind of goes back to some of our first episodes with the whole idea of shapes. Because even when we're using like hair and drawing hair, we're using tons of shapes to be able to do that. Whereas with straight hair, you've got more of the straight shapes, like the rectangles. Curly hair is probably more similar to a lot of the triangle shapes if we really break them down. But for now, if we just focus on the waves and you have fun drawing waves, it's a great place to start.
Wave.
I know a lot of people really struggle with drawing these very big sort of animated kills in their hair, and it looks really cool, especially in anime art. So I'm going to show you a simple way to be able to break them down so that you can learn how to draw the loop hair as well. So one way I found is if we kind of draw this kind of shape here, it's kind of like you want the top to be slightly bigger and then it to connect at the bottom here, like kind of that. I think that's how I would draw a fish if I added the tail like that. So maybe think of it as a fish without a tail.
It's kind of like a bird head, isn't it?
Yeah, or like a beak. Like you could put the nose there and it would connect on, like, and that would be the eye. Like so.
It's a bird.
Whatever works for you and however you feel comfortable making this kind of shape. It's kind of almost like an eye shape as well. Like that's the tear duct, the eye. And then we want to be able to connect it in between, like we were just doing with the ribbons. And then we can fill in the part behind. Oh, I actually love how you've like outlined like this.
Yeah, I thought a bit of a, yeah, it was.
Yeah, to make sure that the first one is a lot bigger and then it gets smaller. That is a really handy thing to do.
I just assumed you did that without realizing.
I probably did. I do tons of things without realizing.
There we go.
That's how I tend to draw them, but I am a bit messier with mine. I like to just eyeball it. Kind of looks like arches, like that. So that is another thing to try when drawing curly hair. Next is moving on to braids, which I know a lot of people are terrified of braids, but I'm going to show you an easier way to be able to sort of digest them.
Right, okay. I'm ready.
So this is the way I draw braids personally, and I like to call this the Y technique. And what you can do is similar to what you were doing before. You can put a guideline. Then I like to do it as a Y, like that, to show where the middle of the braid will be. And then we can connect the top of the Y to the bottom of the Y, like so. And that's the way that you could use to be able to draw braids. How I've done it here is I also like to just draw, like, I see them as like broken hearts.
Oh yeah, I can see that, yeah.
And that's how I draw braids, especially if I'm in a rush. I'll do them as like a broken heart.
Some flicky bits at the bottom.
Yeah, and then you can put a hair bubble and draw the button there.
I do like the heart technique. Like you get it in anime when it's like some like love interest or something. They always have like love hearts in their hair braids.
Yeah, it's really great for character design as well, but it's also just a really easy way to be able to draw a braid, especially if you're scared of drawing them.
Why would you say that, JLP? Who would be scared of drawing braids? Definitely not me.
It's fine. It's fine. I was scared of drawing braids for the longest time, so I totally get people's anxiety about them.
Way to call me out. No, I'm joking.
Calling myself out too. It's fine. It's fine. There are tons of different braids. Obviously, like there's more braids than I can think of. So, you might want to just sit down and study different braids and see what parts like really stand out to you. I know there's like twist braids, in which case maybe you could draw like a half heart like that. But there's loads of different ways to go about them. I think it's just about finding what you're most comfortable with. When I was learning to draw braids, I was taught this technique. So this is called the zigzag technique. This one confuses me a little bit, so that's why I tend to stick to the hearts. But if you want to upgrade from the hearts, you definitely can do the zigzag. Again, we want to outline the sides. We want to draw a zigzag in the middle like so. And then I believe it's connecting the bottom of the zigzag out like that. And then you can round them off. It's another way we can create braids. And when we want to do detail with the braids, we just want to follow the shape that we put down. So when I shade braids, I will like follow the pattern of the plait. Like so. See, when you're able to get it, it looks a lot better, but I've always struggled with this technique. So I wanted to show a slightly easier one in case anyone else struggles with this one as well. So we're gonna take our head and just have some fun messing around with different kinds of braids and waves. So I'm gonna decide where our parting will go. You know, I might do this with a braid and a wave. I think that would be fun.
Oh, yeah.
I think I fancy drawing like a big wave.
Mm.
And we just want to be able to follow the shape that we've been putting down. And making sure that it gets smaller at the end.
Mm.
This is definitely like the technique that I use when drawing my avatar as well, because she has quite big waves in her hair.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with like a braid down the side. Like,
Oh, I like that. I think I might do mine at the other side here. We'll do ours on opposite sides.
Alright, I put down some scribbles. Let's see if we can get some lines in here.
Guidelines are very important. I spend a lot of time putting down guidelines, and then I'll lower the opacity of my piece and then draw on top of them.
I think my issue is I always like try to skip from the sketch to the painting because I don't want to do the line art.
Sometimes, I know some artists just sketch it as it is, but I like to put down some guidelines and then sketch and then do line art. So I give myself like more work to do, I guess. But it really helps me to be able to understand the shapes that I'm putting down, because it's harder to correct them once you start doing line art, especially. Line art isn't for everyone though, and that's okay.
I think I need it.
Line art does help, especially when starting out. But it's a very time-consuming thing, and if you don't like doing that, then it can feel like torture. I'm quite a fan of doing line art because I like really varying the lines. Like in areas I'll make them like thinner or thicker, so I can like make this area more pronounced by going over it again. And it gives like some depth to the line art. But I like to color in my line art when I'm done with the colors, and I often find it just ends up like blending into the background anyway.
It's a bit too wavy. It's more curly, is that?
if you try and focus on the big shapes first, we can always add in like the strands when we know which direction they're gonna go in. Then you can always, on here, like what I'm doing is to make the lines smaller, you can take the eraser or the rubber and calm them down a little bit, make them smaller. And then it really adds kind of a pop to your line art. I know when I'm doing line art, I really like the edges, like on here. I like to make them like skinny at the end.
I love a good like flick. Yeah.
Yes. And then we can remove any guidelines.
Yeah, I can.
And then once we've got the shape, then we can start adding in a few of the details. Like any extra hair flying away. You always see these with anime hair. It looks really cool. I am a huge fan of adding like stray hair.
It just makes it look a bit more like lived in, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The perfection is in the imperfections kind of thing. Yeah, I'd probably have to like redo all the line art again and then
What I would suggest in your case is when we're focusing on the line art, just think of the big shapes. Because a lot of the little shapes you've done, like here, that they won't be in the line art necessarily. They'll be in the shading. So for now, all we'd want to really focus on is like the huge, big shapes here. And then when we color it, just roughly anyway. Then that's when we want to be able to add our shading lines in here. So we can, I'll just do it with a hard brush like cell shading. We can like work out where the shadows are gonna be firstly, then we can add the lines in here. It's very exciting and fun to be able to add all the little details about hair, but when we do that in our line art, sometimes we can lose the actual form of the hair. So when it comes to our shading, sometimes we can just overdo it a little bit. So I just suggest for line art and for working out how the sketch should look, to just focus on the bigger shapes for now, because you can always add those in when you're doing your shading. Though if you want to be able to kind of see where they'll go for when you're doing shading, then you definitely can add them in the sketch. I know sometimes we're not always doing art pieces in one go. So if you feel like you're going to forget anything later, add it in that sketch, and it's totally fine to do that. If you have an idea, oh, I want the hair to go this way, but I'm going to be finishing this piece in like a few days or a few hours, and I know I'll forget where I want it to be by then. That's the beauty of having a sketch layer, is the fact that we can add like little notes and things to our future self. At the end of the day, it's your artwork, and you should be doing it however is most efficient and comfortable for you. I know when I'm drawing in my sketchbooks, and I know that I'm going to be doing a piece digitally, like I'll take a picture of it and do it in a digital software. I'll always leave notes for myself in my sketchbook. So if you guys ever saw my sketchbooks, they'd be like, make the hand bigger or make the head smaller, you've drawn the eyes too big, things like that. So when I get around to digitizing it, I can go crazy with the liquify tool. Can make it a little more how I thought it was going to be in my head. Because sadly, there is no back button with traditional art. However, I think traditional art is a really, really good skill to learn. And if for whatever reason you can't do SketchQuest on a digital device, like a phone or a tablet, follow along on a sketchbook because you'll be able to see your mistakes a lot clearer and you'll grow a lot faster.
100%. I was following along the other day with like a sketch pad and trying to do shading with felt tips as well as a completely different challenge.
Yeah, it can be a lot harder. A lot of people struggle with traditional art, but trust me, it's a really, really good skill. And even if you're a digital artist, there'll be times where you need to draw traditionally. There'll be like a day when maybe your laptop isn't working or something. So always keep a sketchbook on you. Or maybe if you're out in public and you want to draw something, carry it around with you. You'll never know when you need it, and it's really, really good skill to have. So for today's quest, have fun experimenting with braids and waves within the hair. Study different hair types and different kinds of braids and see the placement of the shapes and just have lots of fun with it.
And remember to use the hashtag SketchQuest so we can see all your wonderful creations. Thank you very much for being with us today, JLP, and thank you everyone at home who's been watching along. Like, we've really enjoyed looking at your results and seeing you all in the comments and in chat, so it's been really lovely.
You guys are definitely amazing.
Yeah! We'll be back again with another sketch quest tomorrow. Remember to follow JLP on all the social medias and drop a like and subscribe if you are enjoying our content. Until then, we'll see you later, taters. Bye!
Bye!